Hi friends, in our time together today, I'm sharing just a few comments from 3 of our friends that have been added to some of the recent videos. And I do like to share some of the comments. You see, I know everybody doesn't sit around reading the comments. Honestly, it's not something I do on other channels. And so I want to, sometimes I do, not all the time. And so I like to highlight comments, particularly ones that I think are really pertinent and helpful to our learning journey. And if you've made a great comment and I haven't shared it yet, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to get around to sharing all the comments I can, lump some of them together. It's just really helpful. The comments you add help all of us in our journey. This is why I say I really appreciate community, and I truly do. I hope I'm helping you. I know you're helping me. And that's one of the reasons I started the channel, because I wanted to learn to play the low whistle. I needed people around me. Thank you. So anyway, 3 different friends and some of their comments. First, Greg. Thank you, Greg. On a recent practice video where I said, sometimes I'll experiment and learn some things on a high D and then transition to the low D. And Greg's point was basically, that's great, but it doesn't work for everybody. And I'm like, that is so true. That Greg didn't say it that bluntly. But the point is that there are a lot of different options for learning our whistles. I have more high Ds because, folks ask about them and I like to play them as well, but I really prefer for myself the low D. And if I'm going to pick up a whistle and start playing, I'm going to pick up one of my low Ds. And so Greg's comment was, if something Scott says helps you, awesome. If something Scott says is not as helpful for you, then put on your creative thinking cap and tweak it. Come up with something else. Just get creative and think of something else. So if I'm recommending something to you and that doesn't work quite well for you, please always comment what works better for you. Like I know some folks that only ever pick up their low whistle. I know some folks that use the low whistle for slow tunes and the high whistle for fast tunes, and people are all over the map. Get creative with what works for you. Take my recommendations, use them, try them, come up with something better. When you come up with something that works better for you, let me know, because I want to share that with everybody. Greg, thanks. Next comment comes from Lydia. Lydia, thank you. She's newer at playing, and she says she's still making a lot of mistakes while she's playing. But she said what I did was, while I was playing recently, and we've actually had this comment from more of our friends than Lydia. So this is, if I hear something multiple times, I know it's really important. So Lydia said, I make mistakes, but as I make a mistake when I'm playing, I turn it into an ornament. So her phrase is, I turn my mistakes into ornaments, and it sounds very real. So if you get stumbly, then just work your way back, or, flip your fingers around a bit and make your way back to the tune, and it'll probably sound like something you meant to do. Incorporate some of your mess ups into the tune. I've done this. Lydia's done this. Other friends have told me they do it, and it ends up becoming some of our favorite ornaments. I often put like a run of notes in a tune, and sometimes it's because I've been looking for the right note and walking my fingers up, and I'm like, hey, that sounded good. I'll keep that. And so that's what Lydia said she's doing. So Um, don't worry about stumbling. If your stumble is close enough to the tune, turn it into an ornament. Just keep going. You'll probably end up really liking it. Mistakes can be really good for us in many ways. Mistake helps us learn. If you never make mistakes, you're never pushing yourself. But that mistake can be converted into an ornament. So anyway, that's another great thought. Thanks for that, Lydia. And our last two comments come from our friend Lynne. Lynne, thank you so much. So in response to one of our conversations about learning tunes, she said, it really helps me to write it down. Let me quote Lynne, that'll be easier. The method that's working best for me right now is listening and writing down my own tab notation as I figure out how to play what I've heard. The tab reminds me of the notes, and my ears and memory provide the rhythm, pace, flow, ornamentation, etc. So that implies that she's been listening to the tune, she's got the tune in her head, and she's trying to make sure that she knows it. But a good learning experience, a good learning recommendation is when we take something that we kind of know up here and you write it down. Writing something out helps seat that in your memory. Now, for me, that would be I write things down using transcription software. It might be using your pen. So I'll listen and I'll transcribe. That burns the tune into my brain, and it helps me think about some of the note jumps. Or if you use ABCs or tabs, you could write those down. Now, if you don't write anything down, then listen to a tune with the whistle in hand. And so what I'll do is I'll sit with a computer in my lap and a whistle right next to it, and I'm listening and I'm going, no. Oh, yep, that's okay. Yep, that's a jump like that. Yep, that's that. And I'll write that down. And that works out pretty well for me. And I'm figuring it out as I go. It sounds like that's what Lynne's doing as well. And you'll have, again, like back to Greg's comment, get creative. You'll have something. Find some way to write it down, even if the writing is just sitting, listening with a whistle in hand and playing it and going back and doing it again. That also helps write things down. But remember Lynne's comment about the pace, rhythm, and flow. Like I've said before, you can't capture the mood, the rhythm of a tune on paper. And the other thing Lynne's told me before that I really appreciate is, or she's commented before, is like, I've got that on a card and I look at it and go, oh, yep, that's that tune. So for me, I use printed music. And we've talked about this before. I don't try my best not to use it as a crutch, but I might just look at it and go, oh, yep, that's how that goes. And then I turn away from it. Need to completely turn away from it. So that's an excellent recommendation. Thanks for that, Lynne. Find a way, even if it's in your head, to write a tune down and use that as a trigger. So that's really helpful. But she shared another important suggestion. Remember, I talked about listening to a tune and finding the notes. And Lynne commented and said that works really well, because what I said was find the right notes and then let the tune flow from there. And she said that works really well, particularly if a tune's in a key that works easily on your whistle. She said, what I like to do, and this is another, get creative, my friends, get creative. She said, listen to the flow and the intervals, those paces. Like, do those notes sound like they're next to each other? Do they sound further apart? What's that note jump in there? And I'm going to show you that in a minute. But anyway, let me quote Lynne here. You can play any tune recognizably in any key as long as you get the rhythm and intervals right. The notes per se don't matter. It doesn't matter if I start on the wrong note, so long as I get the rhythm. And then if I can't play it on my whistle, then I could jump to another starting note. So she says it's the spaces between the notes that shape the music. Brilliant, brilliant comment, Lynn. Thank you for that. Like, for example, the tune here in America, we sing Happy Birthday, and it's finally in the public domain. And I won't teach this one because just pick up your whistle and play it. What I mean is your brain, if you know this version of Happy Birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Notice those jumps. Happy that sounds like those notes are probably right next to each other. Birthday, same note. So I'm jumping up a bit. So pay attention to those spaces. I'll just start. See, that jump sounded wrong. And then that next jump's bigger. Next jump's bigger. That wasn't big enough. Okay? I wasn't listening for the note. I was listening for the right progression of notes. I'm going to use a different note. That sounds funny. See, those were two different notes I started on. But that one made me play a G sharp. That's the half hole there, because I'm listening to the jumps. What's right? You could do that with anything. I've got some other tunes I tried that on today, and it's it's all helpful. Lynn, thanks. I'm actually splicing this bit in. After recording the whole video, I was starting to edit, and I thought I need to make one more comment. Honestly, there are some tunes, no matter whether you use music, you're listening and feeling those jumps, those spaces between the notes. There are some tunes you're just not going to get to play on your low and high D whistle. I've been working for a long time to try and figure out how to play Misty on my whistle, and I get close. There are just too many sharps and flats to play comfortably on an instrument that was not made to play in some of these keys. Maybe I could buy another whistle to do that. That's an idea. Also, our whistles, we say they're 3 octaves, but that means that the low D, second octave D, and the third octave D, that's 3 octaves, and that's really all you've got, is all the notes, including and between the low D and the third octave D. And there are a number of tunes that go above that and below that, and you can't, squeeze in. There are tricks for that, but it doesn't always work well. So take this recommendation for what it is, an amazing recommendation, but don't feel like you're going to be able to fit every single tune in the universe on your whistle. You may need to get a whistle in another key. You might need to figure out what notes you're going to leave out, or play some similar accompanying notes that work, or give up on that tune. But for the most part, most of the tunes you and I want to play, you can find on your whistle with this great recommendation. Boy, these are just great recommendations. Greg, Lydia, Lynn, thank you all. Thank all of you for the wonderful recommendations. Please take these to heart. They will help you grow in your whistle playing. I'd love for you to join our Whistle community if you're brand new and you're just checking us out. We really help each other. I'd appreciate it if you'd always add great comments that are going to help me and they're going to help our whole community. If any of these videos are beneficial to you, please like them because that helps promote our community. Until next time, my friends, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling.